and killing innocents. I'm not a marijuana user.
I'll be coming up very soon here on this stage, but I just wanted to get this set up for you to be able to watch.
These up here. Anyway, I haven't smoked since the 60s, but I never arrested anybody for possession of marijuana in 27 years as a cop. I'm relieved that our state's advanced, and I hope that many of my old ex-cop partners and those still in uniform understand my position. We now need to lower the tax base and use these monies to educate the public and help rehabilitate those in need. I guess that's my spiel in a nutshell. So enough of my preaching. Again, I want to thank you for listening. And my son and I have a booth up here, 915, and we're selling some t-shirts and some memorabilia that depicts the video. My son also has some CDs for sale. He's known as Nurmak. He's a rap artist and a spoken word poet. So thank you much. Enjoy and smoke on. Thanks.
Thank you, Reed. That's just to make sure you guys are ready for 420. That is a call. Are you guys ready for 420 here at Seeley Stage? Ouch. Is it working?
Gary, go ahead.
Okay. Wow. I don't know if it was the dab or that ringing that got to me, but one of them did nonetheless. So, now that we're alive again, are you guys ready for 420 here at Seeley Stage? Well, there's not nearly enough of you, and it's coming up here soon. So don't forget, get your friends and family. You guys are, you know, it always fills up here. Because not only do we got our 10-foot bong over here, you'll see Bongzilla coming up here at 420 behind it, so it'll be up and over the top of, I'm sure, any 420 ever here at Seattle Hempfest. All right. We've got AC Braddock coming up here. She's she's with Eden Labs. I believe they're a maker of a lot of these new concentrates. Anybody ever do a dab out there? I know I probably did way too many today. You know, dab. I'm not even sure what dab stands for. Can anybody do? Yeah, I don't know what it stands for, but I did do a dab. So please come on up here. Please give a warm welcome for AC Braddock.
Hello. Can we just have one cheers for the rain? Come on, let's hear it. It didn't rain for 2.5 months. It's crazy. I can hear the trees singing. And one for the sun. All right, one for the sun. So actually, we don't make concentrates. We make equipment that makes concentrates. And we've been doing this since 1993. So we've been involved in the industry for quite some time. And I remember coming to Hempfest when it was still over in Volunteer Park, when there was just a few hundred people, and there wouldn't be a policeman in sight, and they just left us alone. It was pretty amazing. And it's interesting with what's going on politically with the legalization of marijuana, because it is a political issue. Just a second. As we get more legalized, it seems to be getting more shut down and more regulated. And it's really, really important that you guys support these kinds of festivals and groups like NCIA and MDBA. And if you're not involved in any of these kind of groups politically, you should be, because you can actually really have a voice. I didn't really know this until a couple of years ago, and I started going to lobby. And being in this business, a lot of people are coming in from outside now, are realizing, in the outside business world, there's a lot of people coming in, are now realizing that once they get involved in this industry, they become activists. You have to, because there's still so much to do. So that's my spiel on getting active. But, hey girls. There's Warner from Cannabis Basics, very active politically. She's done some amazing things. She just helped put through a bill that is getting topicals products into mainstream stores like Whole Foods. You can take a very low THC, mostly CBD topical and you'll be able to pick it up at Walgreens or Whole Foods, which this lady has done in this last year is effing phenomenal. Give her a hand. I'm just so impressed with her. So I want to talk a little bit about extracts and solvents and things like that, and just also to see if you guys had any questions. We have, as I said, been making extraction equipment since about 1993, and we work with all kinds of different botanicals and all kinds of different solvents. Pretty much anything that you want to take oil out of, we make a new system for it. We make hydrocarbon systems, butane, hexane, propane, R134, which is extremely good for doing very delicate flour, terpene extracts. We primarily focus on CO2 and ethanol. There's a lot of misinformation out there about a lot of these solvents, and also what the whole legalization process is hinging on primarily is medical across the country. Every state that gets legalized, they first legalize on medical. And it's extremely important that the products that are made out there that everybody ingests and smokes are as healthy as they can possibly be, because patients are using them. They're used recreationally. Who here is a patient? Anybody here a patient? Right on. They're discovering every day more and more things that are compatible with our endocannabinoid system in this plant. It's incredible. And that is why I'm standing here today. That's why I'm in the business that I'm in, is because I've been a firm believer in whole plant medicine since the late 80s. And that is a big mission of our company, as far as social issues as well too. Women's issues, criminal people getting put in jail for having a joint. That still goes on every day in states like Kansas and Indiana. It's shocking. And that's one of the reasons why I want to really emphasize the political part of this, because we kind of get used to being in a state where we think it's all good, it's all legal, but we're in the West Coast, and it is night and day once you get into the Midwest and on the East Coast. They just got vape pens on the East Coast like 9 months ago, and still a lot of people don't even know what they are. It's incredible. So don't take what goes on here as what goes on everywhere. So really get involved. So I wanted to see if anybody had any questions about extractions of any kind. Got curious about what you got in your vape pens and how it got there? PEG, PCG, what goes in your oils? All right, well, I can tell you too that what's another thing that's really awesome about cannabis is it is changing paradigm shifts on so many different things, and one of them is how food is produced in this country. So typically, when you go into the grocery store, almost all the oils and everything that you get there, canola oil, whatever out here it is, it's actually made with some kind of primarily hexane, which has been outlawed in Europe for years and years and years. They now primarily use solventless ways of extraction, CO2 and ethanol. And that's primarily the reason why we concentrate on that, no pun intended. So, because it's just easier for the industry to grow. We're local, we're in Seattle. If you guys have any questions after you think about it some more, please reach out and let us know. We are here to move this industry forward, and we can't do that without education and awareness. So I appreciate your time. Happy Hempfest!
Thank you so much, AC. All right. Boy, I tell you, eating laughs. That's right. Concentrating on the concentrates. That's right. So that they can just concentrate in you. I tell ya. All right. Well, we got a new clock. Unfortunately, our clock yesterday did get rained out. But I will tell you, for 420 at Seeley Stage, believe it or not, there was about 20 kids that came up over here underneath the tarp. Yes. Yeah, they were like, all under a tarp. There's a few of us out there smoking, right? And they all came up underneath the tarp, and I'm just like, oh shit. Let's all get high. It was great. I love you for it. Okay. We've got John Conroy is going to come up here and say a couple things. Come on up here, John. John, I'm going to have you come up here and just say a couple words. We've got a little bit of time. We've got a little bit more than 20 minutes. And we've got 20 minutes to really warm your brain up. Okay, so I want you to look. The pipe's obviously warming up. So, please give it up for John Conroy. Another one of these legal experts helping you out.
Thank you very much. So I get to speak a second time. Just for those of you who weren't here earlier, I am a Canadian. And you don't have to be a Canadian in order to be a Canadian. You simply have to join normal. In the US, normal US, but if you're from Canada, normal.ca. So, I talked earlier about some of the goings on in Canada. I think I should focus quickly on the few minutes I have on the medical situation. As a result of court actions over the last 10, 12 years, Canada was required, in order to prevent the violation of people's constitutional rights, to ensure that medically approved people were able to access cannabis. And that resulted ultimately in a set of regulations that enabled people to grow their own or have a caregiver for them, a designated grower. Efforts were made to try and get them to license the clubs and dispensaries, but they continued to refuse to do so. And so a large market of people growing, because of the formula was kind of bizarre in terms of the grams per day, large grows started all over the place, and they were often supplying also the black market. So eventually what happened was, while there were further court cases ultimately establishing all sorts of other things to improve these regulations, ultimately the government decided to abolish the right to grow and the right to have a caregiver grow for you. And so they passed a new set of regulations forcing people to go to licensed producers. But most of the medical people, patients, are on disability pensions, so they can't afford these prices from these licensed producers. So we managed to go to court and get an injunction which allowed people to continue to grow, people that fit within the terms of the injunction, or their caregivers. And so people have been able to do so, so both systems have basically existed. And this is across Canada, not just BC. Cannabis is controlled federally in Canada, both for medical and otherwise. So we're waiting a decision from the court on that case to see whether patients will be able to continue to grow for themselves or have a caregiver do so. And then the government, if we succeed, no doubt there'll be all kinds of appeals and we'll go on for a while. But if we succeed, ultimately they're going to have to come up with a set of regulations that allows, hopefully, for people to grow their own for themselves, which we know they can do at the cheapest and by controlling what they put into their medicine, or to have a caregiver do so for you. And by that I mean a genuine caregiver who stands in the shoes of the patient to do that for the patient. Or they should be able to get from a compassion club or a dispensary. Compassion clubs involve members and so on. That should be another source. And I certainly always like the collective garden thing here in Washington State, which I understand they're getting rid of. So anyway, and you should be able to also go to a licensed producer if you can afford it. Many people aren't going to want to grow their own medicine, but are going to want to have a reasonable supply. So that's ultimately what we're hoping we'll achieve in terms of the medical, while at the same time hoping to make it legal in Canada. And so the important message is call all your Canadian friends, make sure they go out and vote in October 19th, that they vote for either the Liberal Party of Canada, who will legalize, they've said, or the National or the New Democratic Party, who will decriminalize. Do not vote for the unprogressive Conservatives. It's time for Canada to legalize across the country, and we can do so if we get rid of the Harper government. So get all your Canadian friends to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. John Conroy, please give it up. All right. Well, we have another guy here that's been in town longer than I have, been helping out people longer than I have here. And I'll tell you, this guy has stood up for more people that I know personally than I care to count. And I tell you, I mean, he works tirelessly. This is Jeff Steinborn. He's a local attorney here. I mean, this guy is an advocate for all you guys out there. Please, give a warm welcome hand for Jeff Steinborn.
Thank you. Vigilance. Eternal vigilance. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Now, you've all heard that. One of our patriots, maybe Thomas Jefferson, maybe somebody said it. What does it mean? What it means is that a lot of people are attracted to positions in government, people who are not into liberty and freedom, but they are self-righteous, sanctimonious, uptight prudes, and they want to pass laws that affect us and take away our liberty. And so our liberty must always be guarded. Now, you think you're free now? You got marijuana legalized. We're down from 7,000 arrests to 200, but just how free are you? Can you have a job and smoke pot? Probably not. If you're under 21, can you smoke pot? Probably not. Can you afford pot? How many of you went to the state licensed liquor control board cannabis stores and bought pot this week? 1, 2, not many. How many went to dispensaries and bought pot this week? Well, where the hell did you buy your pot? From your connection? All right, good, because guess what? They're going to run the dispensaries out of business. The licensed stores we can't afford, so don't let your connection go. And by the way, it's best if you owe him or her a little bit of money. That way, when they come to town, they'll come by and see you. Anyhow, I got diverted there. I'm talking about liberty being unfinished business. We're not done here. We got a really bad law. A lot of folks around the country now realize that the state of Washington took one for the movement. By that I mean we legalized it, sort of, and everybody else thinks we legalized it, sort of, so we're going to do it in other states as well. But we're sure as hell not done here. I don't want you to think that the battle is over. It's far from over. Here in this little enclave of freedom, Seattle, we're doing okay, but the battle's not over, and it could get worse. I mean, Hillary Clinton, the Clintons weren't that great about drugs, and God knows what Donald Trump will do about drugs. So let's not relax too much. Let's celebrate what we're doing here, but keep in mind that liberty is always unfinished business. Thanks for coming here. Have a good time. 420's on the way.
Yes. Look, Jeff Steinborn even knows about 420.
Okay.
I mean, I tell you, this guy probably has been to more 420 festivals here and celebrations at Seeley stage than he cares to count. Myself included. That's right. 24 years ago in Volunteer Park, you know, somebody told me, said, Gary, that's a stupid idea. This thing about a hemp expo or hemp fest that you want to do. He says it's going to be you and the cops. I said, really? He said, it'll be me and my family and the cops then. That's okay. But you know what? People showed up. People came in. A lot of people actually. You know, Jack Herrera came in, flew himself in. Sold some of his books here, sold over 7 books up there. I mean, he was a success, and he drove it into me just like Chris Conrad did about how important this is, about how truth this is. This is the truth. And I'm telling you, once you find out things about what's been happening and how our government's been hiding this from us, a medicine that can actually cure cancer. That's right, that's what we found out. 4-year-old, 5-year-old kid today cured leukemia by using cannabis oil. All right, Russ Belville is coming up here. This guy, he's been helping us at Hempfest for a number of years. Come on up here, Russ. He's gonna give you an earful.
Good afternoon, Hempfest. My name is Radical Russ Belville. I'm the host of the Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org, and it's got to be damn close to 420 right here at Seattle Hempfest. Are you excited for 420? It's a beautiful thing. We've got some measure of freedom here in Washington State. I'm from Portland, Oregon. We got some measure of freedom in Portland, Oregon. They got some measure of freedom in Colorado, a little bit in Alaska, but a little bit ain't enough. Do you want more freedom? I want more freedom too. And today I am wearing a shirt from my friends at DFW Normal, Dallas Fort Worth Normal. And I thought that I would wear this shirt and throughout Hempfest wear shirts from places that don't have this measure of freedom. That for doing what we're doing right now, people are going to go to jail. They're going to lose their kids. They're going to lose their job, their security clearance, have their assets seized. And so I picked this one because I travel all around the country doing speeches and doing these events and covering them for 420 Radio. And I get to meet a lot of people, and I met some wonderful people in Dallas, Texas. Barb Humphreys, a young woman who got breast cancer and is fighting for medical use of cannabis down there in Texas, a real tough place to fight. But I want to tell you the story of one particular woman that just happened this last month to give you some idea what we're still fighting for. Her name is Charnesia Corley. Charnesia Corley is a young African-American woman. She's driving around the outskirts of Houston, Texas. She gets pulled over by the cops for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Pulled over for a slight traffic stop. Pulls into a gas station parking lot. Cop comes up, does the regular cop thing. He goes, "Well, ma'am, I smell marijuana. You have any marijuana in the car?" Says, "No." Cop takes her out of the car, puts her in cuffs, puts her in the back of the cop car, and then goes to search her car, because he smells marijuana, Officer Bloodhound here. So he searches through the car, ransacks through the car, he doesn't find any marijuana, but you know Officer Bloodhound, he knows there's got to be some marijuana somewhere. So he goes back to Charnesia Corley, still handcuffed, hands behind her back, in the back of this squad car, and says, "Ma'am, you need to step out of the squad car because I believe you are hiding marijuana on your person. We are going to conduct a thorough search." And I mean thorough. She said, "You mean you're going to be, touching my body?" And they said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Well, I'm not wearing any underwear. That's kind of a problem." They said, "That isn't a problem." And they bent her over the cop car, reached around and unbuckled her pants and pulled them down around her knees so they could conduct a search. She decides, this feels a little too much like rape for my liking, and says no and starts to resist. So they took Charnesia Corley, this woman in her 20s with her handcuffed behind her back, and took her to the ground and called in a third officer, so one officer could hold her left ankle, the other one could hold her right ankle, and spread eagle her in a public parking lot on the dash cam camera and search her vagina for the marijuana they thought she must have had. Now, at the end of that search, they did find some marijuana. They didn't say where they found it. Maybe they found a crumb, maybe they found 0.02 grams of marijuana. Charnesia Corley was held down, spread-eagled, pants down, naked in a public parking lot under the light of day and the eyes of everyone in public to search for what turned out to be 0.02 grams of marijuana. Now my first thought was, I looked up the laws of Texas. I thought, well guys, how much do you think she was hiding in the first place? It takes a quarter pound to make a felony in Texas. Now, I don't think a quarter pound is going there. So what that really works out to is they invasively strip searched a woman in a parking lot, probed her vagina for what they must have believed is a misdemeanor amount of marijuana. Does that sound like freedom to you? Does that sound like America to you?
Yeah.
How about hell no? How about hell no? How about hell no?
Hell no!
So that's why we're still fighting for women like Charnesia Corley, for the people in states like Texas and Arkansas and Tennessee and Virginia and Alabama and all these places where what we're doing right now gets them locked in jail, lose their kids, lose their jobs, possibly lose their life if they're black and have something in their hands the cop thinks is a gun. I'm Radical Russ Belville. I'm Radical Russ everywhere on all the social media, 420radio.org.
420radio.org. Thank you so much, Russ. As usual, I mean, he knows how to just put it out there. Yeah. So, you know, we just can't pull any punches anymore, you guys. This is serious. This is saving lives. Yeah. You know who else has been putting it out there for as long as I can remember? I tell you.